What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video, and I wasn't sure if I should make a video now or if I should make a video later, but it's looking more and more like there could be a chance that Mitch Marner will be signing a sign and trade and moving on to the Vegas Golden Knights. So if you guys are new here, make sure to like this video and subscribe. No fancy intro or anything crazy on this video. As far as I know, maybe you guys won't even see this video by the time I post it. He might have already been moved. But if you guys didn't know, there's been rumors out there that Mitch Marner could potentially be a Vegas Golden Knight. And what I'm talking about is Elliotte Friedman and Darren Dreger and other guys talking about the fact that something to keep an eye on and off this week. Toronto and Vegas have been discussing the possibility of a sign and trade involving Mitch Marner. Likelihood of it happening, hard to say, but talks have occurred and continue to do so. I believe Nick Waugh will be going to Toronto if this gets done. And then Elliotte Friedman follows that up by saying Vegas also made an attempt to trade for Rasmus Andersson this week, but could not get it done. So there's a lot to unpack here. So the fact that there's a discussion between Vegas and Marner means, Vegas and Toronto means that there's likely been talks with Vegas and Marner as well to see if a contract could get done. Now, it's interesting because there's a lot of moving pieces, and that's why I'm kind of like trying to visualize it at the same time that I'm making this video, and that's why I almost wanted to wait till later. But the fact that Elliotte Friedman already is hearing that Nick Waugh would be a piece coming to Toronto means that this is probably in the later stages of what could be a trade. They've also talked about Nick Hague also being a piece that comes to Toronto, a restricted free agent. He played predominantly on the third pair for Vegas. But before we get into the pieces that could potentially be coming back, I know a lot of us were like, oh, William Karlsson, Thomas Hertl. Vegas was probably never going to give up those guys in a sign and trade. Those guys are really valuable. They could go out there and get probably multiple picks, probably multiple first-round picks for a guy like Hertl, or at least, you know, a first and a really good prospect or another roster player, and save some money if they wanted to. But they could do better than just a Marner sign and trade, because realistically, Vegas could just wait and sign him on, you know, Tuesday or whatever July 1st is. So let me try to break this down with you guys and tell me if you think I'm wrong here, or if maybe you guys can comment what you guys think as well. The rumors have been that Mitch Marner would want to potentially sign a 3 to 4 year deal, so that way in 3 or 4 years he can maximize the money he could get on the open market when the cap goes up, because when the cap goes up, there's a chance that players could get way more than they would right now, right? So they don't want to sign 7 or 8 year deals, which, by the way, after next year, you won't be able to sign an 8-year deal or a 7-year deal. It's like 6 and 7, 7 with the team you're with, 6 in free agency, I believe. But players are like, okay, I'll make 12 or 13 million. Let's say Marner gets 13 and a half for the next few years, and then after that, I'm going to try for 15 in 3 years. That's a possibility. So that's the reason why I'm looking at this trade and going, okay, so why is Vegas so set on trying to get Marner right now if they could just get him in free agency? Now, the reason why is because they don't want him to talk with other teams. Excuse me. They don't want him to talk with other teams. So if that's the case, them having the rights to Mitch Marner means that, okay, they're probably going to get a deal done, because they likely will only give up pieces in a trade if he agrees to sign and be traded. But it only makes sense to get a sign and trade done if Marner is going to sign an 8-year deal. So if Marner is going to sign an 8-year contract, that's where the sign and trade makes sense. I don't know, because it's been reported that Marner might not be looking for a 7 or 8 year deal. He might be looking for that, 3 or 4 year deal. So I'm not really sure why the Maple Leafs have to be involved in here when it comes to a sign and trade. I guess it's just easier for Vegas. I'm not too sure, but a sign and trade usually means that the other team and the player that's getting traded are willing to do an 8-year contract, but the player obviously needs to sign with the current team that they're with before free agency in order to get that 8th year. So let's go back to this tweet again where Elliot Friedman says Nick Waugh would be likely going to Toronto. And the reason why this is good for the Maple Leafs is he's got 2 years left on his deal, 28 years old, center right wing, 6'4", 200 pounds. You know, pretty big guy, $3 million cap hit. And if the Leafs are looking for a third-line centerman or they're looking for depth scoring, this guy makes a ton of sense. And Nick was a good player. He plays a two-way game. But look at 15 goals last year, 31 points. And to be honest with you, he's not playing a ton of even strength ice time. He's playing about just under 13 minutes a game. So when you look at the depth chart, let's say this trade goes through and Nick Roy's added. Do you put him at that center position or do you put him on the wing with Scott Laughton, you know, a guy like Calle Jarnkrok who might not be on this team? You know, David Kampf might not be on this team, Ryan Reeves. I'm not too sure. There's a whole bunch of different pieces that could be moved around here. But the Maple Leafs getting a guy that scored 15 goals and potentially more. There might be more in this trade. Apparently, Nick Hague might also be available. Again, he's predominantly been playing on their third pairing, but he's a younger guy. Maybe he fits into the Leafs. I'm not too sure. I don't know who you push out at that point or if he becomes an extra defenseman or he splits time with Benoit. Again, this is if the trade goes through. But if the Leafs are able to get pieces and they're able to get something from a Mitch Marner sign and trade instead of Marner just going to the open market and the Leafs getting nothing, that's pretty good asset management from Brad Treliving. I think it's great asset management considering he tried to trade him at the deadline and Marner blocked it. Apparently he tried to trade him multiple times, once to Carolina and once to the Islanders, and he said no both times. If he said no to Carolina, he's definitely saying no to the Islanders, and that's no disrespect to Islanders fans. It's just I can't see Marner playing there, to be completely honest with you. And at the time, I believe Lou Lamoriello was still there. I don't remember if Lou left midway through the season or not, but this is a very interesting time. By the time I post this video, there's a chance that Marner might already be traded. There's a chance that this doesn't even happen and it falls through. I don't know. It's something that we have to keep our eyes on. And if I'm the Maple Leafs, I'm 100%, you know, trying to get a sign and trade done because you're going to get pieces back. And Vegas is they don't have a lot of cap space. So, you know, we're probably going to see Pietrangelo go on LTIR. That will obviously help them out. If they trade Nick Waugh and Hague, Hague is still a restricted free agent, so I don't know if the Leafs would hold him or flip him. Nick Waugh would definitely be a good depth piece for this team. I mean, both Waugh and Hague would be good additions. It's just then the Leafs blue line is a little crowded again, and I'm a little bit worried because I actually like Benoit, and I think he played well even in the playoffs. We'll have to see. Again, you guys will hear from me when and if this happens. Maybe you won't even be watching this video. Maybe it never even gets posted. So let me know what you guys think. Is Mitch Marner getting traded? If you're new here, like, subscribe, join the squad. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.